Welcome back, everybody, to the Rat's Nest. So I am the Rat, and today I am joined by my co-host for this entire series, myself. Say hi, myself. Hi, I'm Trevor. As you know, So
this is my show, you poser. That's staying in, by the way. Hello, everyone. The first ever Rat's Nest episode. The first ever Rat's Nest episode did not have a Rat's Nest intro. Well, it had the Rat's Nest intro. Good job, Trevor. It did, didn't it? Steel Ball Run, the finale, the grand finale, one could say. Ball Breaker and High Voltage, or technically Ball Breaker, High Voltage, The World of Stars and Stripes. So, overall, Trevor, end of Steel Ball Run, what do you think? Well, we'll talk about Steel Ball Run as a whole. This section right here, what did you think?
Okay, yeah. So the last 10 chapters, right? Pretty cool. We got to see Tusk Act 4, right?
Yeah.
Is it not shown? Yeah. We got to see Tusk Act 4 and Ball Breaker. We got to Gyro Zeppeli actually had a stand.
He did.
The entire time. Absolutely based. Man's had a stand. So we got to see Ball Breaker and Tusk Act 4. They're actually the exact same type of stand. So
there's a slight difference.
No, it's the same type of stand.
That's right. I'm so sorry.
There's zero differences. It's literally the exact same thing.
And then we also got to see another stand that came back.
We got to see
D4C Love Train.
D4C, Yep. Basically what happened was this is also more for me and Brandon to remind us of what has happened. It's been like 3 weeks since
it has been a second.
This.
School caught up with me.
So in Ball Breaker we get to see Ball Breaker. Gyro uses the Act 4 level of the spin for the first time, and he actually breaks through the D4C Love Train, the little curtain of light, and we get to see that, and then he dies. Gyro dies. I forget how he dies.
So he
dies
gets
here, right? That's when he dies.
Yeah. So he dies.
Yeah.
Because this is what happens, right? He gets like a cut on him, and because he's around Love Train, right? That act of misfortune is coming onto him, so like it's seeking towards his heart. Because Valentine's in there, so it'd be an act of fortune for Valentine for that to happen, an act of misfortune for Gyro to happen. Because the barrier, it repels misfortune, right? And so that cut is making its way to his heart and getting worse. It's kind of similar to what happened whenever Johnny got his hand cut off. And then like that wound was going towards his heart. It's a similar thing. So Gyro throws his steel ball in a last-ditch attempt to kill the president. But what happens is, as he throws it, because Lucy Steele was on his horse, the angle that he threw it at, it passed through Love Train's barrier. And passing through that barrier, shaved off a tiny little bit of the ball and sent it off somewhere. And therefore, it was no longer a perfect sphere, it was an ellipse. And that way, the infinite spin that it produced wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't true infinite spin. It was still strong enough to produce Ball Breaker, the stand, right? Which is the stand of the steel ball. Anyone can learn Ball Breaker, which is insane. You have Ball Breaker, right? The stand. But because it became an ellipse, because it passed through the barrier, then then it was not the perfect rotation that was needed there. But it still did age Valentine. It aged him up, and now he's old and wrinkly, and D4C looks uglier than it did before. I like the old D4C design, but the original is just so iconic, you can't really argue with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then the misfortune goes, it kills Gyro, right? Not before Gyro's like, this is the last lesson, right? The fastest routes that we took were always the detours. That was a little bit important. Yeah, and then that's Hiro Zeppeli's death, where he tried one last thing. He realized he was going to die, So he decided, he said, I'm going to teach Johnny how to do this, right? He's like, I figured it out. Now I'm going to tell Johnny how to do it. So Johnny can do it. And then Gyro Zeppeli died. Rip. Sad.
L.
I quite like Gyro Zeppeli. I don't know about you. Gyro Zeppeli may or may not be one of my favorite characters in JoJo.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite characters, too. I mean, he's absolutely amazing.
He is phenomenal, dude. He literally goes yo-ho-ho, dude. Dude, he literally goes yo-ho-ho.
He literally says the funny yari yari daze.
Dude, he literally goes pizza mozzarella, pizza mozzarella. That's his famous song, dude.
He does do that. He does say the funny joke that doesn't make sense about the days.
Yeah, that's so. He does be like, okay, I'm gonna say the days of the week in Italian, but on Wednesday I'm gonna go crazy, and on Sunday I'm gonna rest. Hey, we say it's stupid. It's pretty funny. He does it. It's a good bit. And then Johnny writes it down because it's that funny. Yeah. Oh my gosh. But yeah, and so then we have, I can't remember the exact details, but we have Johnny looking at this, right? Valentine's going to kill him. He's racing towards Valentine on his horse. Right? Valentine kills his horse, right? Or like chops its neck. So the horse falls. Slow Dancer. That's an L. I don't think Slow Dancer's name, I don't think Johnny ever says, this is my horse, Slow Dancer. I think we only know his horse's name is Slow Dancer because of the progress sheets. I don't think he ever says Slow Dancer.
That's not true. Somebody does say, I think when it's what is it? It's when he gets the cream spray to like heal himself and his horse.
Yeah, but I don't think Valentine says Slow Dancer.
Slow Dancer said there.
Slow Dancer, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think they say Slow Dancer there.
No, it does. Wait, let me see.
Yeah.
It's after he gets Tusk Act 4.
Uh-huh. But so what happens with Tusk Act 4, right? Valentine is approaching him, right? And then he's like, what does Gyro mean? The shortest path of the detour. He's like, oh, I get it. He has one of Gyro's steel balls. He uses the spin of the steel balls to make Slow Dancer kick him with the natural rotational energy of the horse, allowing him to then use that energy to produce Tusk Act 4, which looks a little bit cool. I kind of like the design a little bit, Trevor. I won't lie to you. I do kind of like the design of Tusk Act 4. It's a pretty cool stand. Well, what do you think of Tusk Act 4?
He's pretty funny. He goes, chimiminin or whatever.
Chumimin. He goes, Chumimin, and then he breaks into your door while you're using the restroom.
Exactly. And then he gives you testicular torsion.
That's so true. The Tusk Act 4 is Tusk using the infinite spin that is generated from riding a horse at the horse's natural gallop and then using the stirrups on the horse to utilize that energy with your own following the golden ratio to produce the infinite spin. And it's a little bit good because what it does, Love Train, right? A barrier that shoots out misfortune. What Tusk Act 4 does is it finds the infinitesimally small cracks in that barrier and it widens them. So the infinite spin is able to get through it. Oda's Valentine and D4C, which I was like, that's awesome that he gets his Oda moment, right? Funny stand. And then Valentine's like, okay, good, I survived. He goes to another world. And then he's like, okay, whatever. Go D4C. But then he starts spinning a little bit, right? And it's like, that's not very good, right? Why am I spinning? And then so that Valentine goes to a different world, hands off D4C. Then he starts spinning and starts going back into the ground because the original Valentine was hit and was like pummeled into the ground. So he's always returning there. He's like, uh-oh. He's like, it feels like every single atom in my body is spinning infinitely. Uh-oh. And it just keeps happening. He can't do it. And he's like, what is this? And he's like, maybe I can get out of its range. So he tries to get on a little carriage. But then that doesn't work because then the carriage starts to spin and he's thrown back to the same place. And he's like, this is never going to end. He's like, this is the infinite spin. And then Johnny's waiting there. And then Funny Valentine comes back out. I love this scene, right? Where basically you have Valentine being like, look, Johnny, I'll look, like, I've done this out of the goodness of my heart. Like I want the corpse to bring America justice, right? He said, that's genuinely what I want. I'm genuinely a patriot. We get his backstory too, where we see that his father died in a war in a POW camp. And he was a guy that wrote dates on everything. He had a handkerchief with Valentine's birthday on it that he hid in the POW camp by gouging out his eye that he was already blind in and keeping it in there, keeping it hidden. And so that sacrifice of his father and that connection of family and patriotism is what fuels Valentine's motivations. Valentine very genuinely like that. That's his motivation, is he wanted the corpse to be stored in America so that America would become a prosperous nation. And he's telling Johnny that. He's like, genuinely, that's what I want. He said, look, I'll never pursue you again. I'll never pursue. That's so true. I'll never pursue you again, right? Gyro. You want Gyro back? I can go to a different universe and get a different Gyro, right? He's like, I can do that. He said, I'll never pursue you again. Just stop the infinite spin, right? Just hit it. Just hit me with it the other direction. You just have to help me out here, right? You're the only one that can do this. I've lost. Johnny's like, look, you can bring me another Gyro, but it won't be the same Gyro. And Valentine's like, well, what does that matter? He's like, there would be a Gyro here alive. Johnny's like, he's like, it does matter. He said, it won't be this Gyro. He said, why would I want a Gyro here that isn't mine, right? And then we get him saying, I love where Johnny's like, I want to believe that you're a good person. It's like, what if I am the bad guy? Like that, he's like, I might be. He's like, maybe I am the bad guy. Maybe I'm selfish. Sure, I want to believe that you're a good person. He's just like, but I can't. And then Valentine is like, you have to trust me here. And then Johnny's like, okay. He said, I trust you 100%. I believe that you're a good person. But I need an extra 1%. I need to know that you won't betray me. I 100% believe that you're a good person, but I need to believe 101%. And then Johnny pulls out a gun, right? The gun that Valentine used earlier in the fight, and said, and he throws it in front of him. He says, pick it up, pendejo, pick it up. He goes, pick up this gun. He says, if you could do that, he says, I'll trust you. I'll undo the infinite spin. He said, I just need to be sure. Valentine looks at it, and then we get like probably the most iconic panel of Valentine. We're sitting there, and he's like, my heart and actions are utterly unclouded. And then you're just like, uh-oh. So Valentine still had the gun on him, right? And so he pulls it out trying to shoot Johnny. And he does shoot Johnny, but not before the guns collapse, and Johnny is able to shoot Valentine with another nail bullet through the head, killing him. So Valentine is dead. We see D4C disappear. D4C's gone. Valentine's dead for good. And that's the end of Funny Valentine. I love that scene. What do you call it? Just going through my memory of it didn't do it justice. I cannot wait for that to get animated. Like that's gonna be peak.
Yeah, dude, it'll be amazing.
That's peak. That's peak right there. It's peak Kino. And then after that, we have Johnny, right? And he's wrapping up the corpse. He can walk again, right? And it's just kind of like, so it's Steven Steele and Lucy come up, right? And Johnny's able to heal Lucy's wounds because Valentine, as a gesture of peace, gave him Hot Pants' cream starter from another universe. And so he was able to use that to fix his hand and to heal Slow Dancer and then to heal Lucy. So Steven Steele and Lucy come over here and they're like, oh, Johnny, you can walk. And Johnny was like, yeah, I guess, like, I thought it was going to be more grand, but it's just been, like, it's just been part of a process. I really like that. I really like how Johnny learned to walk again, how it wasn't like one huge moment. It's something that we've seen throughout here. And, like, it makes sense after harnessing the infinite spin, getting the ultimate form of his stand, fully growing and maturing and completing his character arc, he can walk. Right? If you remember at the beginning of Steel Ball Run, he said, this is the story of me learning how to walk again. And that's what it was. It was a story of him learning how to walk again. That's what happened. There was a couple other things in there, but he learned how to walk again. And also, we'll get to this next episode of JoJo's Steel Ball Run Book Club. That's so true. At the beginning of JoJolion, Yasuho says, this is a story about breaking a curse. So I'll let you sit on that one. But
Yeah, the curse of having 4 testicles.
that's so true. There's so many balls, dude. There's so many. Dude, but yeah, so Johnny can walk again. But the corpse is gone. So Johnny is completing a race, right? He has to go to Philadelphia. He's the final leg of the race, right? And then they're looking and they're like, something seems off here, right? This is odd. There's a gap in the hoof prints, and there's someone came out of the flag where Valentine was, and that's weird. And then the corpse disappeared, and then so Johnny is going there. He gets off the boat, racing, right? He sees Diego beforehand, though. Now Diego's dead, right? So how can he see Diego? That's kind of odd. So he's like, I have to find Diego. Diego probably has the corpse. It has to be like an alternate Diego or something, because Diego's dead. I saw Diego was dead. He gets off the trolley, and we get to see his dad, George Joestar, came to the end of the race. And he's like, I've been awful to my son. And he brings Nicholas's boots, and it's a really nice full circle moment. And it's like, oh my gosh, I think it's done really well. I think it's done really well. I would have maybe liked to see more of an interaction between the two of them, but I think just that gesture itself was really good and was good like that. And he was like, his father acknowledging how terrible he had been to his son, right? I thought that was very nice. I really liked that. But then we get my second favorite JoJo arc. It's already started, right? We're here. But Johnny's racing along, trying to find Diego. He sees him. He disappears. Johnny looks behind him. Who else but the world? What did you think overall, Trevor? High voltage, the end of Steel Ball Run, high voltage. Because high voltage is technically the last 2 chapters are the World of Stars and Stripes. It's high voltage.
Yeah. It's pretty freaking cool. Pretty freaking cool. You get to see funny dinosaur man with a different stand. Yeah. It's actually a reference. It's actually a reference to a little known manga series called JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 3, as well as Part 6. 4 and 5 don't really show the world really at all. I think, do they? Like at all?
No, they don't.
Yeah, I don't think we have any scenes of the world. And I'm not all the way through Part 6, but I'm like fairly certain we'll get to see the world like at least once.
We've already
right?
seen the world.
They're not gonna.
I mean, like in flashbacks and in like illustrations.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
We haven't seen the world yet, I don't think.
The world. Oh, wait. We got to see. What am I talking about? We got to see the world in Part 4. Yeah, when funny Jotaro man said Star Platinum the world because he didn't realize that he could just say Star Platinum and stop time that way.
Well, yeah, but it's because Star Platinum ate the world back in Part 3 that it was able to do that.
That's not what happened.
I think that is what happened, dude.
We
never see Star Platinum not eat the world.
Are you telling me that Tusk could just like drink Dio's blood and then Johnny
Tusk
would have
Act 4 the
stop?
world.
Yeah, Tusk Act 4. It's the same type of
Whoa,
stand.
it's the same type of stand. Yeah. So without going into a terrible amount of detail into high voltage, basically Diego has the world. This is an alternate Diego with the world, which is I love the world. This is my second favorite JoJo arc. The world is my favorite stand. It's really cool. I'm so glad that Araki included this for a couple reasons. One, it shows how smart Johnny is, and he's really good at figuring out stand abilities, because he was able to figure out the world pretty fast. And people will look at this. We talked about this a little bit, Trevor. And people will look at it and be like, how is Johnny able to figure out the world's ability? And it took Kakyoin dying for the Crusaders to figure it out. Johnny just got done fighting D4C Love Train, probably the 4th strongest stand in all of JoJo's. Debatably, you could. There's different places you could put it. I would. Put it at 4.
Like right after Tusk Act 4 and Ball Breaker.
But I put it above the 2 because I think generally it's more useful.
Oh yeah, but it's not stronger.
But it's really good because it redirects misfortune.
Well, yeah, but in a head to head like a brawl, a fight even. very clearly, Plus Act 4 beats D4.
And where do we see that?
I don't know. You're
Trevor?
so right. I have no idea where we'd ever see that.
That's so true. But yeah, so Johnny has been up against far more terrifying stands in the world. The world's pretty terrifying, right? But it's just another walk in the day. And also, this is a big point that I didn't even think of until recently. He's already seen a time manipulation stand with Mandem. That's a stand that rewinds time. A stand that stops time isn't too out of the question.
Yeah.
So I think the time limit where he's like, I think he could probably stop time for like 5 seconds. One, he's really good with horses. He could probably judge the distance that the horse moved, right? That's less of a point because it is the world carrying the horse. But also Mandem's limit was 6 seconds. So like it makes sense. Like the estimate of 5 seconds, like, okay, it can stop time. That's a little bit stronger than rewinding time. I would say it'd probably be a little bit less, right? It makes sense. And we also, I'm so glad because it introduced as to why the Infinite Spin is objectively better than the Worlds and King Crimson, because it can still move and stop time. And that's pretty huge. Just knowing that is like,
absolutely insane.
Absolutely. Like it creams the Worlds and it creams King Crimson. Just absolutely. Trevor, you and I need to talk in depth about the World versus King Crimson one time. Me, you, and Kyle.
All right, yeah.
We need to discuss that because it's one of my favorite theoretical matchups. But yeah, so the Infinite Spin is insane. We get to see Diego. It's a really fun fight just with the choreography and everything that happens. And Diego wins because ultimately, at the end of the day, Diego knows more about Johnny's ability, and he already had a plan in store for it. Where even though Act 4 is the objectively better stand, because of Diego's knowledge and preparation, he was able to win. Because he had it so where Tusk Act 4, the Infinite Spin, entered into his leg, he cut off his leg and threw it at Johnny, so Johnny was affected by the Infinite Spin. That's pretty smart. That's kind of a little bit smart.
Yeah,
kind of. Then Johnny's affected by the Infinite Spin. Diego wins, and then he goes to put the corpse in the safe that Valentine made to hold the corpse so that no one could get to it, right? So it would stay in America forever. So Diego puts it in there, but before he can lower it down, who should come but Lucy Steele? And she gives her little speech, and they talk a little bit. Lucy's like, oh, here's something, you dropped it. And it's this universe's Diego's head that was severed. And then Diego, alternate universe Diego, is trying to run from it, and it still combines with him, and he dies. And I'm just like, okay, that's pretty cool. That's a pretty cool way to end it. Lucy Steele ends
badass.
it. Like that's crazy. Like to remember. Like yeah, Lucy Steele ends it. Like
Lucy Steele is the strongest JoJo in an alternate reality.
Dude, honestly, that's so true, isn't it? I would expect nothing less of Granny Arena. Dude, Granny Arena was literally able to control the man who took down the strongest being in the base universe. So, what does that say about her?
Exactly.
But yeah, and then you get Steven Steele being an absolute dude. I love Steven Steele. Bro is an absolute G, comes through, rescues Johnny, puts him on a horse so he's able to shoot himself with the opposite rotational energy to stop the Infinite Spin on him. And so Diego wins the Steel Ball Run race. But then because he dies and he isn't able to claim his prize, Poco Loco wins. And so that's the big thing. I really like Poco Loco winning the race, honestly. There are people who are legitimately mad Johnny didn't win it. And I guess I understand. But
the story wasn't about him winning a race. It was about him learning to walk.
Exactly. He didn't go, this was a story of me becoming filthy rich in the American West. Dude, that'd be so weird if there was a JoJo's part.
Rich. He doesn't need more
Dude,
money.
It would be so weird if there was a JoJo part that started off with the main JoJo being like, sorry, this part is about me getting filthy rich, and I'm not apologizing for it. That'd be so weird if there was a JoJo part that started off like that, dude.
Is that how part 9 starts?
That would be so weird if there was a JoJo part that started off like
based. That. Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
Meanwhile, I'm like this. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to start part 9. It's going to be fun. But yeah, and then that's Steel Ball Run. We get to see Johnny. He's boarding a ship at the end of it, right? He's going to go over to Europe. He has Hero's corpse. He's going to go bury him there. he runs into Norisuke and his daughter. I think that was. They say that was that his daughter there. Maybe it was his granddaughter.
I don't think is said in my short skim.
Yeah, but we've seen Norisuke there, so they're chilling. They're on the boat together, and then Johnny's like, "I'm gonna go home. You know, I've learned a lot here. You know, that kind of thing." We get to see, what does he use the spin on? He like uses the spin to like dismantle the coffin or something, so they can't carry it away, which I thought was pretty based.
Yeah.
We get to see Johnny, the iconic panel of him staring at the steel ball. I didn't even mention Johnny's iconic line after he shoots Valentine with Act 4, where he's like, "It really was a roundabout path. Truly, thank you, Gyro." He was like, "Hontoni, hontoni, hontoni." That's Johnny's iconic line right there. Almost as iconic as, "Yeah, I have a fetish for girls with bug bites."
Exactly. Man's.
And then we get the final page where we learn that in like 50 years the kingdom was overthrown. Like soon the kingdom was over. I don't think it was 50 years. It was shorter than that. The kingdom, the monarchy was overthrown. The Zeppelis went into exile or somewhere. Marco was never executed. He was let free, and then he died of a cold. Lol.
Yeah. Based.
What else does it say on that page? I can't remember exactly. Are you there?
Yeah. Yeah, so Johnny says that he heard that the Zeppeli family moved to a different country. Marco died of a cold. And he said it was several years later. So, like 7, give or take.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's Steel Ball Run. Overall, Trevor, Steel Ball Run itself, what are your thoughts?
By far the best JoJo part that I've read or seen.
Yeah.
Takes the cake so easily. It's great.
It's just everything hits. I mean, really. Johnny and Gyro are such an amazing pair of protagonists. I mean, Johnny's easily the best written JoJo. We've already talked about that. I'd say second place is Gappy. We'll get to Gappy. But Johnny is just... I love his character arc. The stand fights are so much fun. I love Spin. I think Spin is such a fun power system, and like it complements stands really well. It's just it's very good. Whenever I originally went in to read Steel Ball Run, right back not last December but December before last, I guess it was November whenever I read Steel Ball Run. I was going into it like, okay, I've heard some good things about this part. Let's see if it lives up to the hype. Like, I'm going to be pretty critical about it going in. I came out of it. I was like, yeah, no, it's the best part. it's that good. It's that good.
Yeah, it definitely is.
All right. Well, is that your thoughts, Trevor? Anything else to say? Yeah. So if you're,
no, I mean that's pretty much it.
That's a good part. Well, if you're this far in the video, obviously there's something you like, so make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a comment telling us what your favorite part is. And if it's not part 7, you're wrong. We are going to be starting. We've already started. We're going to record right after this. A JoJolian. We'll be going through the JoJolian, and then Trevor will be joining Kyle and I on the monthly JoJo Land reviews. So look forward to JoJo's Lion eventually. We'll see you all then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.